So joining me is the wonderful Marion Balinoff, who is influencer marketing consultant. Marion, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So diving straight into things, you've built influencer marketing departments from the ground up. What advanced tools and methodologies have you developed to scale companies effectively for mobile games?
Right, so I think, because I've worked in different mobile gaming companies, which were at different stages of their influencer marketing efforts, it all comes down to, first of all, understanding where to start for those,
right.
And then how do you optimize your campaigns and how do you scale, confidently, right? And something that I came up with after working, as I said, in several mobile gaming studios is the testing framework. So it all comes down to understanding for each of the platforms that you want to test. Let's say, for example, YouTube, let's say for mobile games. You want to test different verticals of influencers. So you understand which ones are going to be profitable for you. And you're going to want to start with smaller sizes of influencers. So if we take the example of YouTube, any influencer that are averaging 50,000 views per videos and below, so really smaller size influencers. So you're going to be able to work with many of them in each of your campaigns. And that's going to allow you to test different verticals of influencers. Why is it important to test different verticals? Is because on paper, if you look at two influencers that are exactly the same, so in terms of content, in terms of audience, in terms of location, etc., they might perform completely differently. So that's why you need to really take a step back and look at it on a vertical level. So let's say, I don't know, lifestyle, gaming, true crime, etc., right? And so for each of those campaigns, you're going to be able to iterate on those. So for example, if you start with smaller sizes influencers, you can work with gift codes or gift links, right? So you're going to have an incentive for your audience to download your game. And then that's going to allow you to improve your campaign's performance. And that's going to then allow you to move on to another sizes of influencer, because you're going to be more comfortable spending maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 to 30 to 50K on a single influencer. And then once you move from sizes to sizes of influencer, optimizing each and every campaign, you're going to start understanding which type of creators are going to be the top performers for you. You're going to keep testing different verticals of influencers, which is going to allow you to then scale your budget, because at some point, maybe in certain verticals, you're not going to have enough influencers to work with. And so that's how you move on to the sort of knowledge gathering phase, to then the optimization phase, to then the scaling up phase, where you're then confident allocating much higher budget on a single influencer and on your campaign overall.
Interesting stuff. So obviously, Marion, you are tailoring campaigns for every segment of audience. How do you tailor your campaigns for the older audiences, perhaps more niche audiences? And what strategies do you think are successful for targeting these demographics?
Yeah, there's often a misconception with influencer marketing that you can target mostly like younger audiences.
Right.
And that's quite funny, because actually not most, but like the large quantity of the mobile games that I've worked for are mobile games with like 35 plus audience, male or female, and I've worked with like very strong niches. So you can do, as long as you have a decent LTV, so let's say $3 and above in the US, you can do influencer marketing, right? Even if you have a very niche game with a very niche sort of concept or genre or whatever. But then it all comes down to how much are you going to be able to spend profitably in those verticals for your game. But I have seen, with even, as I said, very niche vertical companies being able to spend 100, 150K, 200K per month in influencer marketing profitably, even if they have very niche games. So it all comes down again to understanding what sort of content is your audience going to be watching on YouTube, is going to be consuming on Instagram. Because if you have, I don't know, a male 35 plus interested in, I don't know, a war game, for example, so you're gonna work with History Channel, geopolitics, stuff like that. But then your 35 plus male audience, they also watch probably anything related to aviation, to automotive, to survival, to any sort of like even more niche, but like there's a channel where people mow lawns for a living, and that's the type of audience that is watching this type of content. So you really have to think out of the box and try to identify other sort of niche of content that your audience might be watching.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for your time, Marion.
Of course, anytime.